Dear students, this is Dr. Pooja Thakkar, a biology expert. We are in the fifth session of Biomolecules and this is on the metabolism. Okay, so first what we need to understand is what do you mean by metabolism is. It is a very dynamic state of our body system. Now, metabolism is composed of two words basically. The first is catabolism, that is breakdown, and the other word is anabolism, that means synthesis. So to understand that, what we need to understand, we need to undergo the detailed processing of each cell. Okay, so a cell is basically a very minute but a very precise laboratory full of biomolecules. In the cells, various chemical reactions takes place to maintain the living state of the cell. Okay, and these chemical reactions are the overall cellular processes which involve the building as well as the breakdown of complex molecules, as we discussed in a series of steps. So those breaking processes are called catabolism and those building processes are called anabolism. Okay, so metabolism means all such chemical reactions of the living system to bring out energy transformations. Energy is extracted from the biological fuels like biomolecules and they'll use to serve various biosynthetic processes in our body. Okay, so now we are again going into the detail of anabolism and catabolism by the example. Anabolism is basically the chemical reaction that involve the formation of new molecules. Okay, so that requires free energy. Okay, the energy is required in that particular state and they'll utilize to form various kinds of biosynthetic products. The best example is biosynthesis of glucose. The next is catabolism. This is the reaction which involve the breakdown of the complex molecules into the simpler things. Okay, and they will generate free energy and those liberated energy can be utilized again by various other processes. Okay, so this is the breakdown of glucose. For the example, you can say glycolysis, which is a 10-step process in which the glucose is get converted into the pyruvic acid molecules. Okay, so whatever free energy is particularly released during this particular stage during the catabolism process is called ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, which is having the high, which is serving as basically ATP is serving as the high energy compound and they are also called as the universal currency of the free energy. Now what we need to understand is free energy, that we will discuss in the next slide. Here what else we need to understand in the context to anabolism and catabolism is the turnover number. So what do you mean by the turnover in a particular company? What we are saying, what is the turnover of that particular company, what is the actual benefit the particular company is having by subtracting each and every expenses they did for the production of a very particular product. Fine, so the overall at the end whatever benefit you are getting, that will be considered as turnover. Okay, so in biological context, what you are saying, a particular biomolecule is changing its form from one to the another into the organism and then only will be able to survive. If glucose is not getting converted into pyruvic acid, then pyruvic acid will not be able to undergo into the Krebs cycle process to form ATP. And if the conversion will not be possible, that will be super difficult for us to survive. So this kind of conversions are very important. So these conversion is called turnovers. Okay, and the hydrolysis, the best example is hydrolysis of the glycosidic bond of the disaccharide, that will liberate two monosaccharide units separately, and at that time also the energy will be released which will be utilized later. Okay, so to perform any of the work, whatever energy is freely available at that time, which is called free energy. Okay, so why this energy is needed? The energy is needed to form varieties of cellular movements, to perform varieties of mechanical work, to transport the material across the membrane, and for the synthesis of other macromolecules again. Okay, so that the conversions will take place, the new molecules will form, they'll get broken down, they'll form the smaller fragments. Those smaller fragments again join in different combination and different orientation to form the other new compounds, and the process is going on. So this is the basic processes which has to be taken inside the body, and for that we need the energy. Okay, so energy, whatever is freely available to perform any function, is called free energy, or it will be considered as G, free energy G. Okay, so if capital G is less than 0, then what you will be able to notice, the reaction is taking place very spontaneously, and at that time the reaction can be called exergonic reaction. For example, the respiration process, if the G is high or greater than 0, the reaction will not be able to run spontaneously, which is called the endergonic reaction. And the best example is the opposite of respiration, that is the formation process, photosynthesis. Okay, so whenever the exergonic reaction happens, nearly breakdown process happen. Whenever the endergonic process happen, there will be the synthesis process. And when the G is equals to 0, the reaction is at equilibrium. But what I would like to tell you people is, living state is never ever under the equilibrium condition. So in our body, G is equal to 0 can never be happen, because the equilibrium will lead to steadiness of the process, and that will be super dangerous for the body. So every time one has to get converted into the another compound, and the another compound is again getting converted into the other kind of compound. So that processes has to have to happen very, continuously, as well as regularly, as well as in the precise manner, and then only the body will be able to survive. Okay, so the products, whatever product which are formed after the formation or the breakdown, is called metabolites. Okay, and those metabolites are further converted into two categories, that is the primary metabolites and the secondary metabolites. Primary metabolites are directly involved in the physiological activities of the body, like photosynthesis, respiration, cell division, cell differentiation. So these are the mandatory activities in the body by which we can, be able to survive. So these are the primary ingredients or the primary components which are formed, and by that only we'll be able to survive. The most important examples you can say here is the basic amino acid as well as sugars. Otherwise our system will not be, able to do any kind of work. Now the secondary metabolites are the metabolites which are having no direct function in the body, or no apparent function in the primary metabolism. These are the typical organic compounds which are produced through the modification of the primary metabolites. So they are the end products or the byproducts of the originally present primary metabolites, and they are not at all directly involved in any kind of growth development process, any kind of reproduction process. Okay, so they are not at all playing major survival role of the organism. Okay, so the best examples are, in the plants context I'm showing the example, that is alkaloids, flavonoids, rubber, essential oils, certain kinds of gums, spices, scents, colored pigments, antibiotics. So these are the products which are secreted or excreted by the plants, and they are not at all directly needful for their metabolism, their own growth and development. They are not at all required by plant. In the easy words I'm saying, that is, they are not at all directly involved in the growth and development as well as the requirement by the plant, but they can be some way beneficial for the human welfare. So we are extracting them out, purify them, and we are commercializing the various products from them for the human civilization. Fine. So this is all about the metabolism concept. So metabolism is the very dynamic state of any living organism that has to undergo in a very precise manner, then only the body will be able to survive. Okay, so if you have any queries in this, you can ask me in the comment box below, and you can also call on 990 980 4647 for more queries. Fine. Thank you so much.